Happy Wednesday. We are discussing and we are focusing on working on our CSU applications, which is like so much fun. Like so much fun, like crazy fun. It's going to be a grand old time because we can walk through this application. It's nothing too crazy, nothing that you haven't seen before from all of our different opportunities as well as all of our different explorations. So I think it's going to be a great time, and I think, let's go for it. Let's explore and let's kind of dive deep. So let me start off by sharing my screen. So within your email, all of us should have received this packet talking about applying to the California State University. If you have any issues, stressors, questions, this is a great kind of little reference point because it's going to help you walk through as well as going to help guide you through applying to the California State University. The very nice first thing is that you have a nice little map exploring all the different parts of California, talking about all the different systems. Fun fact that Cal Poly San Luis Obispo is now turning into a semester system. So that'll be something new for you guys. It's one of the very few ones that was still on the quarter system, so it's transitioning to semester. Fun. Of course, a little refresher about the differences between the two. And of course, the impaction rates so that you kind of understand how difficult it can be to apply to certain institutions, how difficult it can be for some schools, how competitive it is based on the different types of functions and personalities. Of course, our major impaction. I love utilizing this chart because you can go for different types of majors. So you can see things that are open within that school or things that are impacted, or if that school doesn't even offer that major, such as biological sciences, not an option at Maritime Academy, but an option at almost every other CSU. Other things like computer science, who offers it, who doesn't offer it, where is it impacted? That means that school might be a really great source for computer science or a great option to kind of consider. The more impacted a school is, the more resources, the more opportunities, the more programs, especially if it's impacted in a specific program. That means, a lot more resources. This should be something that we are all working on because this is, college application month. Our master college application where you can keep track of the schools that you're applying to, keep track of the major that you're applying to, because every single school is operating on a portal. No one's really sending you letters anymore. That's kind of very old school. Everything's virtual. Everything is through portals and stuff. So as you keep track of the schools you apply to, you can also keep track of when that application is submitted and reviewed. On all of our club sites, we have bins where we have needs to be revised pile so that your case managers can go in and revise your applications to help you out. We want to make sure that they're as juicy and as beautiful as ever. Once we apply, we can then go in and explore a little bit more about giving you your ID, passwords, and portals to keep up and check up with your accounts, which is something that will happen more so December, springtime. That's after we apply. So, future. This lovely chart, if we remember, helps you keep track for those impacted schools about what additional factors they look at when you're applying to those schools. If you rotate it on your screen, just like I just did, it helps you keep track of who's looking at applications between a 2.0 to a 2.49. Almost every school is. What other factors are they looking at? Are they looking at whether you're first generation, whether you get a fee waiver, everything in between, to kind of help you, pick your brain about how admissions kind of works and how it kind of, help you out when it comes to choosing and applying to these institutions. Because the more you know, the more information. Let's go down this way. If you are doing this live here at the Boys and Girls Club, if you're doing it at your house, this is the key information that you kind of need, which is your unofficial test scores, your transcripts. If not, you have your blue file, which you can keep with you. That should have all this information. Oh, you can't see it because of my background. But, your blue file to keep up with your information. Social security number, if you have one, citizen status, how you're going to pay for it, and everything in between. Little do's and don'ts, and then a great explanation of what each quadrant is and how this application is going to kind of break down and look for. Input in classes, all these nice little reference things that we're going to be talking about today, as well as all the questions and information that comes in for EOP. Sounds good? So all the information's here, the questions are here, so that we can get started and kind of go for it. So, if you've been with the Boys and Girls Club for a minute, and you've kind of been with us in the summer, something that sounds very familiar to all of us is California colleges, which you can easily pop up or go on Google. There we go, californiacolleges.edu. If this looks familiar to you, if let's say you're a student who says, oh, I remember doing this. I remember sitting down with my case manager, inputting my classes. I remember that I did all of that. Then I suggest that you log into this account. And when you go to the college section, you can do applying to the California State University application. Once you're logged in, it's going to take you straight to the Cal State Apply. So it's going to link your account. So that information that you put or that you work so hard in during the summer is going to auto-populate, or it's going to auto-transfer to that application. So it makes life really easy. I know it may be a little noisy where I'm at. I'm sorry, bear with me. I'm very limited on space here. I'm trying my best. But you know, we're going to get through. But if you're not, then you want to go straight into the Cal State Apply website. If you haven't done that, California colleges, no stressors, we can do it here today. If you have, a lot of your information is going to auto-transfer, so it's going to save you a lot of steps, and it's going to make this application even easier. But if not, then we can go here and we can start making our account together. So Cal State Apply, this is where you can apply to any of the CSUs. You're going to scroll down to where it says select a term to apply for. We are applying to fall 2022, you know, right around the corner next year. Hopefully it'll be an incredible year. We're going to hit apply. If you have your account, go ahead and put it in. Make sure you write it down within your file. We have our College Bound worksheet, which has the College Web Search worksheet, which has all the schools that you can do. So Common App account, College Board account, FAFSA, UC Apply, all of those accounts are on there, so you can write down your username and password. If you don't have it, then let's create an account together. If you have a title like Mrs., Princess, Madame, I don't know, Prince, I don't know your life, but if you do, that's where you put it. If not, then we can put in our information here. Today I'm going to apply as Eduardo Valderramos. If you have a suffix like you're a junior, sir, the third, you can put it in. If you don't, no stressors. Then we can put in our email. So for me, I'll make another account at gmail.com. Yeah. Gonna copy and paste it. Oh, well, let me paste it. There we go. Phone number. Make sure it's as accurate as possible. Best to your knowledge, you want to make sure everything's as accurate as possible. Whether it's the Boys and Girls Club number, 831-5232. Whether you have an alternate number. Text to authorize, always say agree, because why not? More information, more access. We love texting, right? Very easy, very straightforward. Your username, I'm just going to do this one. Your password, oh, it already exists. Now it doesn't exist. Wow, it works, so amazing. Your password. Beautiful. So we want to agree to the terms. Are we currently located in a European Union, such as Iceland? Any of these? No, we are not. So now we're gonna, oh, I missed a section because it's not letting me go through. Oh, my email's registered. Let's see. If it's registered, it's not going to let you. I already have my account, so now I'm going to log in. But that's the essential foundation. So let me log into mine.
Supper is ready, it's burgers and corn.
Ooh. Hey, what did I play? So sorry about that. So after it'll create your account, it'll take you to this, your extended profile. So within here, we're going to talk about our choices. So we are all going for our first bachelor's degree, right? No one's going for the second. That's not where we're at yet. We're doing our first one. If that's your future, praises to you. If not, no stressors. Now, here's where it can differ. Graduating high school, transferring with associate's degree, transferring from a community college, we are this first one. If you click one of these other ones, you're creating a whole other account, and that's not what we're trying to do. We're applying for our undergraduate. Have you taken college and courses? If you have, yes. If you haven't, no stressors. They're only asking for this, whether or not to add an additional section to your application. If you haven't, you're not going to see that section. If you do, you're going to see that additional section. Because some of us are taking classes with the Boys and Girls Club, I'm going to have it there. Are you applying to return to the CSU campus, which we previously attended? No. It's our first year, first time ever. Are we a military dependent or have we served? No, we have not. Are we currently on a visa? And we reside in California. Save changes. Sounds beautiful. Are you currently located in this? No. As soon as you create your account, this is where it's going to lead you to. It's going to sit here and ask you, which schools are you interested in? Which majors? So if you kind of know what you're interested in, you could search up the specific major. So let's say for me, I want to do film and media. Oh, just kidding, just film. All the schools that have some form of film program will pop up. If you're interested in the school, you just hit the little check mark or the little plus, and now that's added to your list. If you're not interested in the school, you just pass by it. If you want to search for a different major, again, you can switch it up. We could do something like, I don't know, who has nursing? Everyone has nursing. Oh, look, Channel Islands, free nursing. Channel Islands is a great school, a great nursing program. You can add as many schools as you want, but you can only get 4 for free if you qualify for those income-driven fee waivers. So the more you add, just know that those are either out of pocket or hopefully if you join us for senior retreat, you may get some golden tickets or some raffle prizes so that you can earn those additional things. Once you're done adding schools, so let me add one more. Let me do Chico. Chico seems really fun to me. You'll see some of these alternate program is required. So yes, I can choose what my alternate program is. An alternate program, essentially what that means is that, let's say you don't get into that major, they have another backup major that you can choose it. If it's something that you're passionate about, sometimes it can be hard to transfer into majors. I suggest you choose something related. If your goal is just to go to the school because you're so passionate about Channel Islands or you're so passionate about Long Beach, but you're really unsure what you want to study, then you could choose something totally different if that's your goal. But if your goal is to go for that specific program, choose something related to that program. My goal is a little all over the place, so I'm going to choose something totally different. Ooh, plant biology. That sounds like fun. Photosynthesis. I'm good with that. So then once you're good, you go to continue. And right here, it'll show you all of the schools you're applying to, right? Don't think you have to work on different schools. It's one application to apply to all schools. So we're just going to continue my application. Remember, it's $70 per school. 4 schools, $280. The math checks out. So your application is separated into 4 different quadrants. If you saw in the packet, or if you've seen your packet, we have that information of what each quadrant takes care of. Personal information is quadrant 1. Your academic history, which is your grades, anything in between, is quadrant quadrant 2. Supporting information is known as the EOP quadrant, and then program materials are additional questions that the school may ask you or may kind of go in for. So, to make life a little bit easier and to kind of build our confidence, I always like doing the first quadrant as quadrant 4. Why? Because it's like so easy. It like takes no time, honestly. So you literally could go to quadrant 4, and quadrant 4 is going to vary depending on the schools you choose. If you change a school, your quadrant 4 is going to change. If you add a new school, it's going to change. If you add a new program, it's going to change. It all varies depending on your schools that you're interested in. Each school may ask you additional information. They may ask you, okay, since you chose nursing, would you want to do our honors program? Would you want to do this? Do you know that for this school, this requirement is mandated? If you see for Chico and Long Beach, they don't have additional questions for me. Only Channel Islands and Dominguez Hills have that. You always want to make sure you have check marks, because check marks means completed, check mark means we're solid, check mark means we did it. So when you click on it, it gives you information on the school, self-reported information, how admissions is done. It goes back to making that CI account. So just like how I showed you on that Master College application list, it gives you that contact or that context of like, hey, you have to make this account. Hey, you have to kind of do that, no stressors. And it kind of reminds you all the information. Then the main thing that they want you to do is this question section. So, nursing program impaction statement. I understand that this application for general admission to the CSU Channel Islands and not to the nursing program directly. I like showing this because oftentimes for a lot of competitive majors like engineering or nursing, you are put into a pre-nursing or a pre-program. That means that you are admitted in, you're kind of on the pathway to become a nursing student, but you're not officially there. You have to meet certain requirements. So that's going to the nursing department, going to one of their orientations, going over there and doing certain classes, whether that's anatomy and physiology, medical terminology, statistics, general psychology, general sociology. Meeting those requirements, then applying to the nursing program is what's going to seal you or put you into that nursing track. So as of right now, you are pre-nursing. So as long as you acknowledge that, understand that that's what's happening. It's just because, you know, a lot of people are applying. Sometimes you go to school. Sometimes you go to the school and you're like, oh my gosh, this is not what I wanted to do anymore. So you change the major or you change to something else. That's why there's that pre-nursing track, to really make sure that, you know, you have to put in that extra effort to showcase or validate that, yes, you're going into nursing. The second statement, because nursing is a professional major, so knowing that this program is connected to require licensure or certification in order for you to be able to work within this field. It's intended for you to prepare to meet that California licensure certification requirements. That's great to hear. That means this program is meant to help me prepare and pass my exam so that I can become a professional nurse, a professional RN, and be able to start working in the field, within the medical field. So it's a great opportunity. Sign me up, sounds lovely. Those are all the questions they're asking me, so I hit save and continue. Beautiful. Easy, right? So much confidence. Film and television. Easy. Again, learning a little bit about Dominguez Hills. Questions? So this one's a little easier. If admitted to CSUDH, would you be interested in being contacted by a pre-health advisor? Well, for Dominguez Hills, I put film. So if that was my true vision, I'm going to put no. If my vision was still nursing, yes. If my vision was still biology, if my vision was still trying to become a lawyer or a veterinarian, then yes. Because for Dominguez Hills, that's my vision. Save and continue. And you're done. When you're done with a section or you want to move on to something different, you can go right back up here to my application. If you want to add another school, or if you want to kind of check the status or see more information, you just go add a program, and this is where you can add schools or take away schools too. You would just unhit the plus button and it will get rid of the school. If you want to check the status after your application, this is something that all of us are going to ask you as you finish the application, to print it out so that we can look over it with you. You just go straight to the little download application button. I don't really have much information, so there's not much for me to download, but you will download it, it'll pop up, and you can print that out. So you can put it in your file in one of our lovely bins, and one of your case managers can look over it. Usually, or not usually, we always have 2 people look over it. 4 eyes are better than 2 eyes. So 2 sets of eyes, 2 pairs to really look over it and to really make sure that we're doing the best possible application. Juicy, 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 juicy. So let's get back into my application. And you can see we did 1 area. Oh my gosh, it's done. We just have 3 more to go, and then this application is over. Easy, right? So easy. So I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, Mr. JC, am I doing quadrant 1 or quadrant 2?
Are you doing 2? I do quadrant 1.
Okay, one more time? Sorry.
You're doing 2, I'm doing 1.
Fantastic. So in that case, I'm going to pass it off to Mr. JC so we can work on the little itty bitty or foundational part of our application, which is that personal information going into quadrant 1. So let me stop sharing my screen. Mr. JC, we can't really hear you.
Oh, I was on mute. Sorry. There you go.
No worries, no worries. There we go.
So, what I was saying is this. The good thing about the CSU application is that you can jump to different tabs. So, just in case you don't have the proper documents for what tab you're working on, and you decided, you know what, I don't have that. It's pretty awesome how if you guys can see Mr. Eddie was jumping on different tabs. So, the tab we're going to be working on with my part is the personal information. So making sure, just an FYI on the personal information, make sure that you guys are using your legal name. You guys are using your legal address and all the legal stuff, because this information will be matched to you. And if you're using your fake name, if you're using your nickname in the streets, I know some of you guys have street names. You don't want to use that, because then when they're trying to match your FAFSA application to your personal information at the university, if they can't match it, and then you'll be non-existent. Okay, so the first part of this personal information, the release statement, this means is solely a statement stating to you all that the information that you'll be putting in this application is true and correct, that you are not faking it, meaning that you're putting your right name, right addresses, and information about your school, high school, and just all the information that you're putting, and you are not lying. Okay, you're certifying that you're true, that you are the person that you are putting in this application. The CASPP or CASP result statement, this is usually a test that you take in high school that assesses your education, as you move from 9th to 12th grade. And so if you don't know if you're taking this test, I think, correct me if I'm wrong, Mr. Eddie, they can see it in the transcript, correct? I always get this one confused with the CASP. We can see it in the transcript, correct? That they've taken CASP.
It depends on the institution.
Okay.
So I know for POLAs, no. I know for some of the LAUSD schools, yes, you can see those scores. It just depends on the institution. Some schools I know POLAs had the students retake it within the new year. Other schools said no, virtual, COVID, not happening. So it all depends on your institution.
and this CASP result, usually every student at their high school takes this. So there shouldn't be, unless you're absent that they released the test, and then you couldn't take the test, but you should have taken this test. This is an assessment test, and usually you guys go through a lot of assessment tests in high school, just kind of determining placement and all those wonderful things to make sure that the high school does what they need to provide you the proper information, and just knowing your level of English, math, and science. So you should all have taken the CASP. So it depends. If you don't know, then you can say, well, you've taken it. So you either say, I completed CASP assessment and agreed to release my results, or you can say, I completed the CASP assessment and do not agree. Or if you didn't attend a high school in California, you can just say that too. I know that we have students from, I've worked with students transfer from Texas to California, and then now they attended a California school. But if they know that they attended the first 3 years in Texas going to California, I would just say, I did not attend high school, or I had to go in California to complete the CASP. And if you don't want to release your results, it's totally fine as well. It won't affect your application. And then this one here is the release of contact information. It's just making sure that you acknowledge that every information you put in the application will be released to the university. If you agree to that, I would just say, why not? You know, you want them to kind of see and make sure that whatever information you're putting, especially the supportive services information that you put on here, they can provide that service to you. And you, after all that, you can just click save and continue. And then this box will appear and just say, continue to the next section. And the next section, like I said, students, please make sure you are not putting your street name. You're putting your real name. You know, so my real name is Juan Carlos. And this right here, it shows that you cannot change it. But this, you can actually change this if you know, you all of a sudden you were in a hurry when you create your account. You can actually go back to this section here, up here, and you can say extended profile, and it will direct you to be able to change this. Extended profile, I think my profile, sorry. Your profile, and you can change this information. It's just up here, drop down menu. There's a help center, my profile, extended profile. So just in case, go back to personal information here. Let's go back to biographic information. So because it will not allow you in the actual quadrant to fix this section, but you can go back up there and fix that section. And then if you have an alternate name, I don't have an alternate name. Well, I do, Mr. JC, but I don't want the university knowing that. So I just say no. If you have a preferred name, I just prefer for them to call me, you know, Juan Carlos or JC, or however the teacher will mess with my name. It's fine with me. And your legal. So whatever you prefer, okay? So at the end of the day, you know, it's what your orientation, what you prefer is how you would answer these questions. We are the schools and the CSUs are free of judgment. So whatever you prefer, you answer, okay? What do you consider to be? What is your sex? Do you consider yourself to be? How do you describe yourself? And how you describe the way you express your gender. So these are how you would, you know, consider yourself to be. And then your birth information. So again, you have to use all legal documents. Do not just guess your birth, because sometimes when you guys are guessing, you are more likely to mess up and put the wrong birth information. So just in case we have to do a verification and then you accidentally put your right name, but you didn't put the birth name, now then the university is gonna have a hard time connecting to your information because you didn't properly check. So just double check your birth name. You know, the country you were born. I wasn't born in the United States, but I just said I was born here, you know, just for the sake of, to make the application a lot easier. And then if you're, what city, what state or province. State or province is usually California if you were born in California. And the county is usually Los Angeles County, extending all the way into Orange County. And then your applicant information, at any time since you turned 13, were you both parents deceased? Were you in foster care? So if the answer to this is yes, then it's yes. If it's no, it's no. As determined by the court, your state of legal residence, or you were emancipated. So if the answer to this is yes, then it's yes. If it's no, it's no. And I'm gonna ask you a different questions about, you know, information about, you know, your you know, where you live and things like that. These questions, you know, July 1st, 2021, did your high school or school district determine you as homeless? So whatever you answer to these questions is either yes or no. If you have any questions with these questions, just let us know in the chat and we'll be happy to answer. Okay, and if not, you can leave it a case manager if you have a special circumstance, and we'll be happy to make sure that we put the right information. And after you answer these questions, we can just save and continue. And then again, the box will pop up and just say continue to the next section. And then this is the contact information. The school and universities that you'll be applying, all universities, they like to use mailing sometimes. Some universities love mailing, some universities love emails. Just please make sure you put the right address and you put your current address. Because I know Channel Islands, if you get into Channel Islands, they'll email you before they even email your acceptance. So you don't want it sending it to the wrong home and them getting excited about your acceptance. You know, so you want it to, you want to be the first one to get excited about your acceptance. Make sure that you put your country, which is we're in the United States, your street address, which is here at San Pedro, it's 1200 South Cabrillo Avenue. You know, if you have two street addresses, city, state, province, and postal code. It's pretty self-explanatory, right, guys? And then approximate date through which your current address is valid. So, you know, whenever, just in case you think that you guys are going to move in the near future, then you will put that, and if not, just say it's your permanent address, okay? And then your phone number, this will be blocked out, so you guys have to just go back to the profile section. You can click this link, or you can do what I did up here to go back to the profile sections, including the email as well. And after you complete this section, you go ahead and say save and continue to the next section, and then it's going to be your citizenship residency information. Okay, so if you're a U.S. citizen, you would state that. If you were, for me, I'm a U.S. citizen now since I've been here forever. But if you were born outside the United States, you would state that, and then you would state the country that where you were born, and then you know, residency. You have, in order to get in-state. This is really important, this section here, because sometimes if you are not paying attention to what you're putting in this section, you don't want to be deemed out of state. If you deemed out of state and you're applying to a CSU, your tuition will increase to what, about $10,000 to $12,000 to $15,000 addition to your in-state tuition. So make sure that you guys are claiming California residents. If you guys are California residents, this is really important, y'all. Because if you miss this part, your tuition might increase, and then we have to do a whole appeal to make sure, send in like bills, utilities, to make sure that you are a California resident. So please make sure that you guys are paying attention to this. You know, you're California residents, you claim California residency, you say yes. Have you lived in California continuously since birth? You know, if you've been here and been going to school, even though you weren't born here and you've been going to school California, you know, you can state, you can claim residency. And if you know you were born here and you've been here in California, just say yes. And after you answer these questions, you just go save and continue and go into the
wait, JC, sorry.
Oh, go ahead, Eddie.
Do you think you could show us what happens if, in case you don't have a complete stay in California continuously in the previous?
Yes. Oh, yeah. So let's go back. So say that question again, Eddie.
So let's say you haven't lived in California since birth. What happens then?
If you haven't lived in California since birth, as long as you've been going to school in California for the past 2 to 3 years, a high school in California, middle school, it can be middle school, high school, you can still claim, or if you live in California for at least more than a year and 1 day, you can claim California residency. Did you want to add something to that, Eddie? Or we're good?
Yeah, what happens when you press no?
If you press no, what happens then is that you will be deemed a not California residents, and you don't want that, because then you will be charged out-of-state tuition. And if you are charged out-of-state tuition, your tuition, instead of being roughly about $7,000, you'll be looking at close to $20,000 just the tuition alone, not even including dorm and housing. So it will really boost up your tuition, and it will make it harder to afford as far as going to a CSU. So please make sure that you talk to a case manager. If you have a certain situation like Mr. Eddie just asked, because we will help you guys determine to make sure that you guys can claim California residency. Any other questions?
Well, if you press the no, so let's say you lived in California since birth and you press no, all it's gonna ask you is where were you before?
There you go.
And when did you start? So let's say you came to California when you were 3 years old. You're still a California resident. You've lived multiple years here in California, way more than 1 year to claim California residency. So totally fine, and then just put the day that you started living in California.
That's right. Yeah. And then like Mr. Eddie said, and then after that you would just say, you were born in California, but you left and you moved to Texas and you moved back to California. You just have to state when your present stay in California, and then we'll continue on. If you guys have any questions with that, just put us in the chat, and then we'll help you guys go through that question. And then next section is race and ethnicity. So, first question would ask you is, with regard to your ethnicity, do you consider yourself Hispanic or Latino? Depending on how you answer that question, you can say yes, no, decline to state. I answer no. And then your race, depending on what your race is, I choose Asian and I'm Filipino. But you have a whole bunch of categories you can choose from, and it's up to you to state that. If you would like to state that. And then after this section, you can do a summary of your race. It asks you all these wonderful categories, right? And at the end, it gives you what is summary, what is your general race. So for me, I'm just Asian because they don't put Filipino, which they should. I think they should. But after you answer that question, you can just save and continue. We can have a debate why I say that later. And then you can, like I did here, I just opted out to put a parent guardian, but if you don't, you can put a parent guardian, you can put one, or if you live with one parent or two parents, it's up to as long as you put a parent. Technically, because of the update, the CSU application, because we have certain special circumstances that students, certain things happen that they stop living with their parent, or just things happen. It's special circumstances that the CSU application allows you to not actually put a parent guardian, and that's additional information later that we can submit to the university later. But if you decide to do that, you can. But if not, you can put your parent's name, last name, and your relationship to the person, mother, father, stepmother, and whatever that is, and then the residency of the parents, whether they're a California resident. And for the most part, all the students that we've supported so far are all parents that parents that are California resident. But if not, it's okay. You can just push no, and then they'll ask you, because we do have parents like myself who weren't they're weren't born here, and well, my mom now is different, right? But if you have a parent that weren't born here and they're not permanent resident, you can just kind of state that here. So if your parent, guardian, permanent resident is not California, you can just say no. You can choose, like, say, Alaska, and it's totally fine. As long as you state it in the application. As long as you yourself claims, hopefully can claim California residency. And if not, if it's a special circumstance, we can sit with you and then see what the situation looks like. So that's what it looks like when you say no. But if you just say yes, you can just, and then it's just going to ask you, has your parent or guardian living comfort consumed since birth? If you say no, it's going to give you more drop-down menus of asking you more questions regarding, what the parent situation is. When did your parents stay in California? What prior country, prior territory? Making sure that, if your parents did not stay in California, but they moved to California for more than a year or so, it's usually the state of residency is 1 year and 1 day. If they're asking you that question, is that how long should I be living in California to be able to claim California residency, or any state would that matter? It's usually that 1 year from the time. So if his parents came October 20th, right? They arrived at California October 20th, 2021. Their residency starts October 21, 2022. I think that's right? Sorry if my math is incorrect. But yeah, so it has to be 1 year and 1 day. Yeah. And then so that's what happens if you click yes, and if you click no, I just showed you guys, and then just put their mailing address, contact information, and then if you authorize the university to you can give your parents permission for admission to communicate with them. Here's the thing, and the good thing about college, sometimes, I don't know if it's a good or bad thing, is that they know that you guys are going to be young adults, and they're going to know that you guys are adults, meaning that you're going to be the person who's going to be taking care of all these information without parent approval most times. So you have the opportunity to authorize whether your parent can access any of your admission or any, for that matter, transcripts. And it's up to you to be able to give them approval. If you say no, say no. If you say yes, and you want your parents to continue to be with you along that matter, and then you can click yes. And then, like earlier, the university campus communication, it's up to you guys. But I would say yes, so you can always be updated on what's going on campus. I would always authorize the parents because it's just best because they pay for our college expenses and they help support, hopefully, help support for college expenses that you guys will allow them to kind of see that. And then other information would just be your social. And if you have no social, you can just say no because the application in the new update, it allows you to be able to put no social. And it's totally fine. Okay, you can just acknowledge this and you should be fine. And your statewide ID for San Pedro transcripts, you should be able to get this. And it says, it's actually, it's on the right side top corner of your transcript next to your ID. It's not your school ID, but it's next to your school ID. It's a state ID that you would enter in this section. If you are confused and you're like, I don't know what I'm doing, please make sure that you talk to a case manager that are floating around you, and they will gladly be happy to point out what I'm talking about. And your language proficiency, for me, I am English now, even though I wasn't born here. All I spoke is English, but I can speak Tagalog, so sometimes I would put, no, I just put English. And then your military status. This one can be changed in your profile if you decide you made a mistake, but I have never served in the military and don't plan to. So, and then if you're military dependent question, are you dependent of a person? So if you have a parent or anybody that went to the military, or parents in the military, or relative, whatnot, that's close to you, you can put yes or no. Yes, active duty, no, whatever preference you have in your situation. And here, if you are interested of a teacher or other educational credentials, teaching credential, this means that if you plan to teach one day or in the future, it would be awesome to have your credentials so you can have and be approved to teach in a classroom. And then CloudFresh, I always say yes to CloudFresh because you never know what your situation will look like in college, and this will give you an opportunity to have additional resources such as food. And there's a whole application process, but for now in the application, I would, advise to say yes. And then later on, me or your case manager will go through the process of making sure that you guys get CloudFresh. California Promise is basically a institution that provides tuition for students in DCC, but they do ask that question in the California CSU application just so they can put you in a category to make sure that you are a first-time freshman student if you qualify to give you additional support. And then how did you hear about us? You can say other Boys and Girls Club. Mr. Eddie told me in a wonderful presentation with the Boys and Girls Club. And then you just click and continue to the next section, and it'll be the financial parent information. So it'd be awesome to have your parents with you while this process. If not, be with your case manager with tax information so we can provide the proper section of the taxes so we can provide this information. And then first it asks you household size and information, and you read all these wonderful stuff. If this all applies to you, you click none of, you can click that one of these apply to me. If not, you can say none of the above applies to me. And then dependent size, depending on how many people in your household of 2020, guys. We're looking at 2020. Okay, and you will put that. I would say if your parent is supporting someone 50% and up in your household, or just supporting them 50%, I will put it as part of your total size of household. And then their adjusted gross income and their untaxed income would be in your 1040 tax forms. And if you are confused and don't understand what I'm talking about, please flag the case managers walking around you and show them your taxes so they can help you guys with this. And this is the campus housing information. It just solely asks you whether you're interested to go to housing or not. And I always say, regardless whether you think no or yes, I would say yes, so you can have a placement and they identify you as someone who would like to be in housing, so you're safer that way. And then parent guardian, this is just basically asking the educational level. So whatever the educational level that they tell you, and let them know. Remember, you are a first generation student. If your parents, even though they attended college, they have to have graduated college for you not to be a first generation. Okay, if your brother or your sister went to college and graduated, you are still first generation. Your parents has to have graduated college for you not to be first generation. And then you continue on to the next section, and then Mr. Eddie's turn. Let me just stop sharing here because so Mr. Eddie can show you guys this wonderful information.
Perfect, perfect, perfect. So now, hopefully, in my mind's eye, how I envision it is that we're all working on this application together as we're talking about it. You know, that's what my vision is that's happening. Hopefully, with that being said, that also means we should have our files open so that we can start inputting things. We could start inputting things such as having your transcript or having your A through G that you've done with your case manager. Ooh, sounds fun and testing. So unfortunately, I have something a little long, but very doable. We can get through this. It's easy. If you have your transcript, if you have your A through G plan, it's going to be like butter. If we don't, might be a little bit of a challenge, but it's okay. We got to get through this. So, starting off with the high schools you've attended. Again, if you've done this with California colleges, if you've done this before with us, and you connected it or you haven't connected it, you can hit show me now, show me how. And it's going to take you to the California college's website, input your username and password, connect you back to this website, and this information will be filled out. So both this section and this section and this section should be filled out if you did that with California colleges. If not, it's okay. We can do it together. So we're going to talk about by first adding our high school. So if you know your CEB code, makes it super easy. I know it, the one for POLAs. I'm going to do POLAs because, you know, I'm a little porty down here. So when you put in the code, you'll see the schools at the bottom. You have to click the school. If you don't click the school, it's not going to magically do it for you. You have to click the school. Then look, there's my school. You have to click it again to make sure it realizes that yes, that you chose the right thing. You have to click it 2 times. Why? That's just how it is. That's just how it is. Then we can go into when did we start school? Let's go down memory lane. We started in 2018, August. Crazy. We're graduating June 2022. Fun. What type of term type? All of us are on a semester system. So everyone should be putting in the same thing, same time start frame, same graduation date roughly. At least all of us are trying to graduate the same day. I think. I hope. And then simple as that. You save the school. If you have multiple schools, so I know something Polas likes to do is that sometimes for summer school you have Mission Academy or learning something or anything like that. If you have one of those schools, you want to do the same process and add it. If you don't, then you leave it as is. I, for example, am gonna do, let's say I transferred from Polas and then went to San Pedro. Then that's something that you could do here, and that's a situation. You could add up to 4 schools, but again, it all depends on what your kind of situation is, what your transcript tells you. If you only have 1 school, perfect, nice, no stressors. So now it's gonna ask you, which graduation are we kind of going for? Well, we're going for a high school diploma. If you have multiple high schools, you get to choose from which one you're actually going to be graduating in. You know, sometimes we transfer out, like if you went to Baxter and now you're at Pedro or you're at Polas, that's your option. When are we going to graduate? Easy peasy. We're going to graduate June 2022. Easy. Now we're going to continue to the next section. Academic information. Do we attend high school outside of California? No, at least not me personally. Hopefully not you guys, but if you do, again, talk to your case manager so we could explore what that kind of looks like. All good? Next section. Now, I put that we attended a college. If you haven't, this section is not going to be on your application. It's not going to be on your account. If you have done a college class with us, so let's say one of our classes like business, which we're offering in the spring of next semester, or a class like right now, how we're doing child development, or psychology, or sociology, or any of those classes, we're going to put it in. All of our classes or all of our dual enrollment is with Los Angeles Harbor College. Angeles Harbor College. There it is. Besties. Did you obtain a degree or are planning to obtain a degree from this university or college or university. For most of us, it'll be no. If you are earning that AA, great for you, you could put that. But for most of us, it'll be a no. What type of system does this college use? We are on a semester system. What type of aid are we going for? We have not applicable because we haven't gone to college yet. We've been using our K through 12 forms, so it's totally free for us. So we're not really going for a different type of tuition. We're going for that. Of course, you do in-state tuition if you did that, out of state. All that's applicable. When did we start? So if this is my first college class, we're starting in fall. If you've taken college classes previously, you'll want to pull out that college transcript, whether it's from El Camino, whether it's from Harbor College. You can easily log into your account with your case manager, or if you know it, put in your Harbor College ID or your El Camino ID password, and you can pull up those transcripts easily. Unofficial transcripts you can get whenever you want. I'm going to say this is my first college class. I started in fall. We started in August. So August 2021. Is that where we're at? Yes, we are. Now, if I'm still going to take a class next semester, so let's say I'm planning to do the business class here at the port, or any of the other classes that we're offering at the within our clubs, you would check the mark that. If you finish, let's say you did a college class your junior year, so that's what, 2020, and your last one is this semester, then that's what you would put, and you would say, I'm not doing any more, that's it. Whatever you put on your application, because you are self-reporting, the expectation is that you take those classes. You can't randomly say, oh, I didn't feel like it anymore. Oh, I don't really like the class anymore. Oh, it's too hard. I'm going to drop it now. No. You put it on here. The expectation is that we're completing it, right? So make sure, when you're choosing this, we're very committed with it. If you've done multiple college classes, you could add, multiple schools like El Camino Harbor College, LBCC and Harbor College, add the other college. If it's just the one college, we're good, we're golden, we're done. Now this is the little trickier part. This is your high school coursework. So this is where we're going to be adding in our high school classes. My personal preference is I like starting with 12th grade and working backwards, because the layout when we do this application will work great. You could do it any way or any form. You could start with 9th grade, you could start with 10th grade, whatever works best for you. I always like doing 12th grade because it makes it super, super, super easy. So we're going to start with 12th grade. If you have multiple schools, you could choose other schools. And we want to make sure that we're choosing the correct year. So for 12th grade, that's 2021, 2022. That's where we're living in, thriving. You always have to hit this green check mark. If you don't hit the green check mark, it's not going to work. So our first class, if you're at LUSD, you're doing your senior English elective or your senior composition, either or. For POLAs, we have the option of British literature. So you want to type in the course. If you're following it along with how your case manager has it laid out in your A through G worksheet, the course should pop up. You want to make sure you're choosing the course from the drop-down menu. Why? Because these are courses that are already pre-approved and already accepted into the UC CSU system. They're already recognized as UC CSU approved courses. So making sure that you choose the course that falls in that drop-down menu, because that means it's the course that's already chosen. If you type it in manually, that kind of creates a red flag. On the application, automatically it creates a little red flag saying like, uh-oh, why is this course being manually typed? Why isn't it popping it up? So always make sure you're choosing from the drop-down menu. Pay attention to that. I'm just going to be very honest with that. Then for our grades in the fall, we're going to do in progress. For POLAs, British Literature and Monitor, for LAUSD, same common trend. It's only one semester, and then your other semester is going to be a different English class, unless you're doing AP. So we're going to do no course, check mark, golden. Now for POLAs, they do modern literature. There it is. So we're going to do the same thing, no course. This is planned because it's what we're going to take next semester. Green check mark. If you made a little oopsie, hit the little trash can. You can edit it, or you can edit it if it was the wrong one. We can make those changes. Another class that we also do for one semester is, I'm going to do AP Government. There it is. Automatically does the AP level. That's what we're taking this semester. No course next semester. Check mark. Then we're going to do honors economics. There it is. Sometimes you have to play with it. Sometimes it goes in as H, sometimes it says honors. You just have to play with it, but always try and do things from the drop-down menu. Now, some schools, for example, I'll say for Polis, they've added new classes. They didn't tell the counselor they added these new classes. These classes should be approved. The counselor has sent in the classes to be approved, however, it's not updated on the system. So for classes like at Polas, if you have AP Physics or Digital Photography 3, those are classes you have to manually input because they're brand new classes and the counselor didn't know. That same situation could happen at any of your schools. So if you know, like, oh, there's a new class, talk to the counselor, talk to your case manager to make sure you know it's something that should be added. But if you've met with your case manager, it should be perfectly golden. Once Sorry about that. So if it's something that you already completed, if it's something for the future, if you've already worked with your case manager, you have that A through G course list, you already know what classes you're taking, super, super simple. If you did it with us last week for the UC application, pull that out, print that out, same format. It's literally copying and pasting, just doing it all manually. So fun. So we're gonna do no course. This is planned for your future. Have fun. Like I said, if we do AP Physics, because it's a new class, we're gonna have to manually put it in because yes, it's been approved by this. She got the email, but unfortunately, it's not on the system yet because she didn't have time. And we're gonna do in progress and planned. Check mark. So fun. If you've done anything in the summer, then you could do add summer course. Again, following the line of your transcript. So let's say I did this in the end of 9th grade. So that's now my 9th grade summer. What year was that? 2018, 2019. Green check mark. I can put in the course. So let's say I did Spanish. So if you see things like flip switch or something like, oh my gosh, it's like Edge something that you'll see at LUSD or things like that, those means that those are the online classes. It's like elective lab. It's like you doing it virtually. If that's the course you did, put that. If you did it in person and you went to the school during that summer, do the in-person school one, so Spanish one. Let's say I did it online with Polas. I did the flip switch. I'll put that. You have the options of summer 1, summer 2. That's again for first semester, second semester. So if you did both semesters of Spanish in that one summer, you can put it. If I only did one semester, then I'll do no course and I'll leave it as is. Sounds easy? Sounds fun? Sounds very doable? Again, super, super easy following along with your case manager. I'm not going to go too crazy with it because we saw it last week with Miss Karina as she explained it beautifully. She did a great job. She had it all laid out. You can also do it right here with your case managers if you're at the site or if you have questions. Again, if you have your file or transcript following along there, that's going to be beautiful because it's very well laid out. And again, as you add courses or as you add grade levels, it's going to go in the spot where it's supposed to be at, if you get what I mean. So let's add that. So you see I had 9th grade at the bottom because that's their foundational. 10th grade automatically jumps up. If we started with 9th grade and worked our way up, 10th grade is going to be on top, 11th grade is going to be on top. So you'd always have to shift up. Make sure you always hit the green check mark because if you don't hit the green check mark, it doesn't work out. And then again, I like starting with 12th grade and working backwards because that way you don't get confused like, oh, where am I supposed to add this? Oh, where am I supposed to type this class? Or am I typing it in the wrong year? We don't want to make those mistakes. We want to make sure that we're putting in the correct years. So again, I like doing it from 12th grade backwards. Any questions so far? No? Yes? Cool. Gucci, Gucci, Gucci. Then we're going to do our college coursework. So we go down here to start it. So you start off very similar to what we just did. We add our semester. Again, I'm saying that my first semester is this semester for college class. So I'm going to do fall 2021. Your academic status is based not on the grade level that you are at, but it's actually based on the units at the college that you're taking it at. So unless you've reached more than those 30 units, unless you've reached those 20 units or 60 units, we are all freshmen. Even if we took it our senior year, even if we took it our sophomore year, we took it at that freshman level because we're still at that freshman status. If the course is in progress or completed, we'll put that. Let's just say I completed the course, and we can hit add a course. You can either do the course code, so for child development is CDev 001, not coming up, no stressors. You can search it up here, child, growth and development, CHDev1. If you have your Harper College transcript, makes it easier. Select the subject because this is child development, child psychology. These classes, the ones at least if you're doing with the Boys and Girls Club, should be 3 units. If you're taking a class outside of that, so let's say you're doing pre-calculus or things like that, then it should be 4 units. But again, it'll auto-populate. So again, you always want to use the drop-down menu. Don't try and manually input it. If the drop-down menu shows it, click on it. If you completed the class, you'll put your grade in. If you're doing any courses with us, we always want to make sure that they're transferable. So you make sure that box is checkmarked. Any class that the Boys and Girls Club offers, or most of the time what your high school offers, are transferable courses, so that's totally fine. Let's say you're in progress of that class. This is blocked out, so you can't even put in a grade, and you just hit save. Same thing for classes that you're planning on taking next semester. Again, we said we're currently in the class. We're committing to this. There's no backing out. So I'll say for spring 2022, still a freshman because I'm barely taking class. In progress and planned. I'm gonna add a course. I'm gonna do introduction. I can't even spell it. Yes, I can. Introduction to business. Then select the subject. This is business. Oh, there it is. And of course, save. Once you have all your courses, you're good. You can hit save and continue. Unfortunately for this section, it's a little weird. It doesn't automatically give you the I'm done or the I'm save option. So you have to go into the next section. And then to make sure you have those, oh my gosh. To make sure you have those beautiful check marks, you want to go back. Once you've added it, you can say, yes, I have completed, save your transcript, and you're done. Continue to next section. If you notice, I don't have one on the high school one because I didn't put in all my courses, but once you guys have it, put it in. If you have any standardized tests, again, optional, but if you have them, it's great for validation for high school readiness, for college and career readiness. Great validation to put you in the correct level of English and math so that you don't have a summer course. Feel free to put it in. If you don't, no stressors. I am not adding a standardized test, and we're done. Easy. If you suddenly take a test or you something, just roams through you and you're like, I need to take a test, I'm going to take one right now, add it in. Unfortunately, some of the tests are being canceled, so, be careful with that. Just FYI. And our favorite to final section, which is A through G matching. So the goal on here is that it shows you that you're meeting all of your areas. Because I only put a few classes, it doesn't show me all my areas. But essentially, if we have all of our classes, you'll see the 2 years, or you'll see how many years you've taken. It should have 4 years of English, 3 years of math, 1 year biological science, 1 physical science. Language other than English, 2 years. Remember, same language. 1 year of visual performing arts, 1 year of a college elective. So, I always say update, because you want to make sure that everything's matched. If you can see AP Physics, that's not matched with anything because it's a new course. I manually input it in, so I'm going to put it as a D2 because that's a physical science. My Harbor College courses, those aren't matched either. These are both G, electives, match it, match it. If your Harbor College course for my HTPA students isn't an A through G kind of approved course, but it is a UC CSU transferable course, you just wouldn't match it to anything because then it'll go into your GPA calculation. But if it is under UC CSU A through G approved course for Harbor College, then you would match it to that. Then you hit save and continue, and Now it's updated with my new years. So now I have that 1 year of physical science, and now I have 2.5 years. It also calculates the GPA, which as of right now I'm at a 5.5. Crazy. I'm breaking the system, breaking the scales. But no, as you add your classes, it's going to balance out. It's going to give you your actual GPA and how it kind of looks like. Any questions? No? Fantastic. So now we're going to go back to your application, and we're going to go into our final section. I'm going to pass it off back to Mr. JC as he talks about EOP and the educational work experience.
Thank
Oh
you, Mr.
no,
Eddie.
your session's going to time out.
Thank you, Mr. Eddie. So we're going to go to our final quadrant for today, and this is your supporting information, meaning aka the Educational Opportunity Program. Educational Opportunity Program, as you guys can see, the simplest way to explain this without using their lingua or their awesome definition is basically your Boys and Girls Club at the university, right? We here at the Boys and Girls Club support you with everything that you need in order to help you become successful. EOP is the same thing, but your college version. So in this section, you're going to be answering many different uh, questions about educational opportunity, programs that you participated in, such as AVID if you had. Some high schools do have AVID, some don't. So if you participate in AVID, you would say yes. Upward bound, college bound is not upward bound. Okay, I just want to clarify that. And there is a section here where you can put college bound. Talent Church, if you're upward bound, you can go ahead and say yes. Talent Church or Education Opportunity Centers, if you have EOCs in your campuses, then go ahead and put that. Puente Project, I know that Mr. Andres was part of the Puente Project at LA Harbor College. So, if you're a part of that, go ahead and put it. Independent Living Project programs, if you guys are familiar with that. If not, just know. The Mesa Project, I know my brother was part of the Mesa Project when he went to El Camino. So you're part of that. Go ahead and put that. But this is where you will put yes if you guys are all part of Boys and Girls Club, which you are if you're in this presentation today. It says other Gear Up Camp Foster Youth Programs Student Support Services Program. Excuse me, guys. Boys and Girls Club, we are a supportive services program where we provide academic support, such as what we do now, tutoring, and many other wonderful academic support that we provide you guys. So please, I hope that you guys would say, this is the section that you will put yes. And then depending on the number of years you've been with Boys and Girls Club, that's what you will put, So for me, 4 years, right? No, 2 years. But like overall, about 7 years. But so let's put 7 years working for Boys and Girls Club. So let's do 7 years working for, 2 versions of Boys and Girls Club within the past 7 years. And then what was the average number of hours worked per week over the most recent 36 months? So you have to be very honest, and we have to look and be careful of how much hours you guys are putting, because you guys are full-time students. Technically, if you guys are students, you guys are considered to be full-time students. That means that you guys are supposed to be working at least 40 hours a week because of the school and the things that you guys need to do. So colleges and many programs that provide support to you guys, especially like colleges, that they understand this section, especially the CSUs. So please just be careful on how much hours you put, so it doesn't run on and you guys don't be deemed like, oh, the student is lying. And it asks what's more than 25% of your hours related. So it in that CSU application, it does ask, what's the program that you joined, the club or the extracurricular activity you joined related to your major. Was it 25% related to your major? If it is, because some programs we have like the Cornell program, the summer program, if you guys got the Cornell program, it does cater to STEM programs. So if you want to major in STEM, you would say 25% yes, right? But just depends on what you're doing and how you're doing it. What the stuff that you're doing or the program itself, okay? And then this section asks extracurricular programs. So It says select the average number of hours per week you are or were involved in activities during the last 36 months. So, depending on how many hours you joined your wonderful programs here at the Boys and Girls Club and any other services that you guys joined, just be totally honest with the hours. And if you are having a hard time calculating those hours, just please come see us. Here at San Pedro, I usually direct to Mr. Andres because the math. Now I think we have Mr. Diego. So we'll direct you guys to them to make sure that we calculate the right information. And then within that, after we state our supported services program that we joined, it's going to ask you if you guys held any leadership position. And we have to go assess if you guys have your wonderful academic resumes that, we've been telling you guys to build since summer. We can assess all those programs that you joined and see if you guys are participating in any leadership program. After that, if it's a yes or no, you would answer, and you can just click save and continue and move on to the next section. And this is the educational opportunity program section. And it's going to ask you, do you wish to apply now? If you click yes, you'll have the wonderful pop-up of information that we need to do for EOP. And if you click yes, I will return later to complete this application, you can just click save and continue. But if you don't qualify for EOP, EOP is historically supporting low income and first generation students. You don't necessarily have to be low income or first generation. It just all depends on the situation. And so, I always tell students, you know what? They may or may read the application that you put on EOP, either they qualify or not. My belief is always putting and maximizing the application. And if you have a story to share, when you do open and say click yes and you feel like you can answer these questions, awesome, share them your stories, and then hopefully if you're applying to a program that is impacted, it may or may affect. You just never know. And I always tell students, just write it in and let's see where it gets us. And so if you do click yes, it's going to ask you whether you previously attended a CSU or enrolled to an EOP program. You're going to click no because you guys never. And if you don't know, then I guess you can put not applicable, but it's a no. Where do you plan to live while attending college? If you plan to live on campus with parents, depending on the geographic location your college is and how close to home. But I would say on campus, it's always better to put on campus, whether you don't know or not, because so your financial aid will be evaluated at a higher range of money. How many brothers and sisters are currently attending K-12 schools? So depending, some of you guys have one, just few. Some of you guys have 2 or 3. So it just depends on that situation. To answer as is what is in your household. How many brothers and sisters are currently attending your college? So you would answer this. How many brothers and sisters receive bachelor's degree? Depending. So for me, it's just me and my brother, and we both graduated. So I would answer as is. As what it said. One language is spoken in home. We speak Spanish, Tagalog, English. So in my home, we do speak English and Tagalog. So I will put English and I can't spell and Tagalog. Right? And then go on to the other questions. During the past 10 years, have your family received? So these all are personal information. And, if you are having a hard time or need further assistance as far as knowing what the different public assistance program that your parents are getting, or not having a hard time reading the paperwork that's given to you. If you have these programs, just let us know and we'll be able to, all case managers can assist with that. This section asks that, so have you ever had family participate in any public programs or subsidized housing? So it asks those questions because this is historically geared towards determining and assessing, student to provide student support for those who are in low income and first generation students, to be able to help them become more successful and go to college, successfully. So this is the what EOP does. Just as like we here at the Boys and Girls Club, we support all of you to make sure that you guys are successful in going into college and transition properly when you do go to college. And it says, and then next question asks you and any other children in your family contribute to household expenses. So it determines household size, expenses, and those things. to make sure the support services that is happening at home. I mean the things that are happening at home as far as financial info. So after you answer these questions, it takes you, let's see, brothers and sisters, say one, there's one. Yes. How many years? Say one. Tap to aid. Family participant. Yes. Meeting each lunch. Taking the time to just say yes. Everyone buys groceries and pay rent. And then save and continue. And as you go on to the next section, it's going to show you the, have you completed the EOP program? If you click yes, it'll show you, ask you about your parent guardian, your financial status. And then if you click no, you can continue. If you click no, you can go back there and continue the question. But if you are ready to go, you can click, name your parent guardian and whatnot. Let's just say our parent guardian would be Yesenia. She's the up and down. I'm trying to get through this so I can show you guys. Occupation, 20 years. You have information to report. Let's just say no. Current guardian income, let's say, I don't know. Let's just say 70, I guess. I'm guessing here, guys. This is not true. I don't know. That's just all guess. You have dependent parent support. Let's just say no. Oops. How many? Just say 5. You just save and continue. And then continue to the next section. Have you completed private question? No. You can just say yes. And then this section is actually the essay part. After you complete the essay part, it's going to put you in the recommendation part. You will need 2 letters of recommendation for EOP, and this is the letter of recommendation. My suggestion when it comes to the EOP recommendation, please make sure your counselor, your case manager knows that you guys are putting their name, so they don't just automatically be surprised that they're receiving a CSU, receiving an email from CSU asking for a letter of recommendation. Okay, so please communicate and give them at least 2 weeks in advance to complete this. Don't give them 1 or 2 days because a lot of our case managers, staff, counselors are helping many other students, okay? But aside from that, after you complete your letter of recommendation, you should get that awesome check. And then you'll be good to go to the next quadrant. And then, this one, when you create your letter of recommendation, you put the name of the person, last name, email address, so they can send them an email. Write a wonderful message to the person, just in case if you didn't tell them. And then when the deadline is. Usually the deadline is November 30th of that, November 30th. That's when the application is due. So you will want to put maybe at an earlier date, so your recommender also will be understand when they need to turn in. Don't let them turn it in at the end of the day. And then I always suggest to waive your rights so you can proof that you actually trust the person that you're asking a letter of recommendation to. Okay, so please make sure that for me at least, it's better to just waive your right. And then the permission to contact them. That's why it's good to contact the recommender. So, they can email this, the CSU system can email them, and then the permission to contact the school recommender. Okay, so after you guys get all that done, you send your recommender, and the whole application should be all checked in green. With the supporting information, I know we are past time. Do you guys have any questions or anything that you guys want to ask us throughout this process? I know that walking through application is not what you want to do. 6:30 at night, but I hope that we provided wonderful information to make sure that you can do this independently. And if not, if you have questions, concerns, we are here always. We want you guys to ask us questions. Any question? I know Mr. Eddie did the program materials first, since you guys know how to do that. I actually wonderful job with the academic history part, supporting information and personal. Anything else in the application? Mr. Eddie, any last parting words for the students?
The one thing I would say, and I don't know if you guys noticed, hopefully you guys were all paying attention, is that you cannot save in the middle of doing a section. You cannot save halfway through and say, oh my gosh, I'll come back to it later, my information will save. You either have to fill out that whole little page done, or you just don't do it at all. So as you saw with Mr. JC, he had to put in the E's and put in something for his EOP section. If he didn't, he couldn't move on. Same thing with any component of the application, with the exception of inputting your grades. That's the only section where it'll let you save midway through. Other than that, you either fill out that little page or you just leave it alone until you have all the information together, or you put a marker to remember. I wouldn't recommend doing that because sometimes we'll forget. We'll say like, oh yeah, that sounds right, when it could be something totally wrong. So, if you don't have it, no stress. We have time. There's time.
You guys have time. Take your time. This is a marathon, but always know your deadline. Okay? Me, Mr. Eddie, and all the case managers are surrounding to support you. Just don't do it last minute, because then me and Mr. Eddie have to stay up at 1 a.m. or 12 a.m. to make sure that you guys submit. Not this year, right, Mr. Eddie?
No, not this year. And this year they're due December 15th, right? That's what I saw. So we have time. We have so much time. So, any questions? Feel free to let us know. If not, be on your merry way. Happy Wednesday. See you all at senior retreat this Friday. Fun times.